Now, the wicked witch of the west had but one eye, yet that was as powerful as a telescope and could see everywhere. So, as she sat in the door of her castle, she happened to look around and saw Dorothy lying asleep with her friends all about her. They were a long distance off, but the wicked witch was angry to find them in her country, so she blew on a silver whistle that hung around her neck. At once there came running to her from all directions a pack of great wolves. They had long legs and fierce eyes and sharp teeth.
Noses by Eileen Fisher. I looked in the mirror and looked at my nose. It's the funniest thing, the way it grows, stuck right out where all of it shows, with two little holes where the breathing goes. I looked in the mirror and saw it there, the end of my chin and the start of my hair. And between there isn't much space to spare, with my nose like a handle sticking there. If ever you want to giggle and shout and can't think of what to do it about, just look in the mirror and then, no doubt, you'll see how funny your nose sticks out.
One morning, Elmer, the patchwork elephant, met a group of elephants who didn't look very happy. "What's the matter?" asked Elmer. "What's the matter is that it's cold," said one of the elephants. "That's what's the matter." "It's not really cold," said Elmer. "It's just a bit colder than usual. What you need is a good walk to warm you up. Come on, come with me."
The King's breakfast. The King asked the Queen, and the Queen asked the dairymaid, could we have some butter for the royal slice of bread?
Minos, the king of Crete, was a very cruel and wicked man. One day he sent a message to Daedalus, who was very famous as a sculptor and inventor. "Come to my island and bring your son with you," wrote King Minos. "I have work for you." Daedalus and his son Icarus set sailed at once for Crete and were greeted by the king in his huge palace at Knossos. "I want you to build a secret maze in the cellars of my palace," Minos ordered. "You are to tell no one about it. It must have so many winding tunnels that anyone going into it will never be able to come out again. I shall call it the Labyrinth." Daedalus didn't know why the king wanted this strange cellar, but he and Icarus did as the king commanded and set to work. When the labyrinth was finally finished, Daedalus discovered its secret. It was to be a prison where Minos could keep a terrible monster.
It's not Christmas, but we're going to read a little bit from Alien's Crazy Christmas. An alien came down to Earth one snowy Christmas day. It looked so fun and jolly, he was sad to come away. Zobble said, "We need a Christmas back on planet Blip." Carefully, he wrote his notes and planned a shopping trip. But as he whizzed off through the sky, the spaceship span around. It scattered Zobble's notes about and turned them upside down. "What a mess!" cried Zobble as he rearranged the lot. "I hope I can remember now which goes with who and what." At last he sighed with great relief. "I think I've worked it out. But what on earth do Earthlings do with all these Brussels sprouts?" "What do you think Zobble will do with the Brussels sprouts?"
Mrs. Twit gets a stretching. Mr. Twit led Mrs. Twit outdoors where he had everything ready for the great stretching. He had 100 balloons and lots of string. He had a gas cylinder for filling the balloons. He fixed an iron ring into the ground. "Stand here," he said, pointing to the iron ring. He then tied Mrs. Twit's ankles to that iron ring. When that was done, he began filling the balloons with gas. Each balloon was on a long string, and when it was filled with gas, it pulled on its string, trying to go up and up.
Rick comes to stay. Once upon a time, there were 3 children, Joe, Beth and Franny. They lived with their mother and father in a little cottage deep in the country. They had to help their parents both in the house and in the garden, as there were lots to do. Now, one day their mother had a letter. She didn't very often have letters, so the children wondered what it was about. "Listen," she said, "this is something quite exciting for you. Your cousin Rick is coming to stay with us." "Oh!"
Danny and Dino had nothing to do, so Danny said, "Why don't we watch some cartoons?" But then Danny's mum cast a shadow of gloom. "You can't watch TV till you've tidied your room." They slumped up the stairs in the foulest of grumps and stood in their room at the foot of Mount Dump. "Tidying this mess will take thousands of years," said Danny, whilst desperately holding back tears. Unless they were going to tidy forever, they needed a plan, and a plan that was clever. And then an idea popped inside Danny's head. "Why clean up this mess when you can eat it instead?" So Dinosaur opened its mouth like a bin. Danny scooped up the mess and he threw it all in. Toys from the tip of the top of his head were chucked in and chomped by the dinosaur's teeth.